Hello, my name is Ryan Messer, and you're listening to the Life is a Mess podcast. I hope you had a great week. And so this week's podcast was inspired by one of my listeners who reached out to me this week. I'm not going to say his name or anything like that, but I just want to let you guys know where this one came from. And if you're listening, thank you for it. So the quote for this week is without a struggle, there can be no progress. So I chose this quote because I feel like it can relate to many people. I know that everyone that listens to this podcast has at some point had struggle that caused them much pain. I'm not sitting here saying that because this is a podcast about struggle or pain or anything like that. I'm saying that because anyone who's a human being in this life at some point has had some sort of struggle, whether it may be huge, small, or very quick. It doesn't matter. But you've had some sort of struggle at all. So the struggle could have been with family issues, in school, at work, or I said honestly many other things. But from it you can become such a better person. And so I feel like this quote is very true in the sense that you don't have those bad days, you will not be able to progress forward in life and could stall out. And like I said, is if you have a bad day, you realize that hey, when a good day is a good day, it makes it good. If you just every single day was a great day, then eventually those days will start to turn into bad days and you want more and more and more. And it's a never ending cycle of just honestly being unhappy. So yeah. So it is when you're your lowest when you see who you really can be and see what kind of strength you have and what you really are made of. And as much as I wish that I could sit here and tell everybody that you're never going to have any struggle and nothing's ever going to be bad for you, and I wish I could say the same for myself, but it's not the truth. So I know when you've been at your lowest point in your life, you can really see how strong you are and work for it through it. And then afterwards, think, man, I've came a long way. So I'm going to give you a personal example for you to realize that a situation that is bad at the moment, or even for a long period of time, can be shape you into something or someone that's way better than before. So I'm gonna give you this story with not too much details because if I had were to do that, we'd be on this podcast for a while. But I'm just gonna give the general synopsis and try my best to relate it back to the quote, of course. So I've had some family troubles for the past couple years, and it's put me into some rough spots in life that I never thought I could get myself out of. And it's put me in places that I've never been in my life, and I had no idea how to deal with it. And for a while, I kind of went down a dark hole that wasn't good. Um, but with working hard on myself and the support of great people, I've been able to work through my pains and sadness to become someone who is way better than the person I was 2 years ago. And I know it sounds crazy to think that, I'm sitting here, I got hurt and I got better from it. But essentially, if you look at it, that when, for example, when you go to the gym and you work out, you're sitting there breaking down your muscles. When you break down your muscles, yes, you're going backwards, but when they rejuvenate back, they're gonna be bigger, stronger, and better than they were before. That's essentially how it is for here. So some of the things that I would like to show you that I've done that is better is I've done this podcast. And this podcast has been a dream of mine for quite some time. But I never felt that I deserved to talk to people about struggle when in reality I hadn't been through a lot of that time. And if it were not for that, then I would not be here talking to you right now. And so I thought that it would be kind of hypocritical of me or however you want to look at it, that if I'm sitting here telling you how to get out of struggle and how to be strong and how to be a good person, when in reality hadn't even went through it and wasn't really, I guess, looking back at it, that great a person in the first place. But now that I've went through stuff, it's made me realize, you know, a lot more about people and a lot more about myself. And so that's why I say that if it weren't for what happened, then I wouldn't be able to sit here and do this with you. So I'm very thankful for that. So another thing that has progressed through this is I've also been baptized. And I'm not going to sit here and push religion down anyone's throat because honestly, just as I just said, I don't have the knowledge and the everything to sit here and preach to anybody about anything. I have my opinions and my beliefs, and yeah. So, but I have, in my eyes, it's a good thing. I've been baptized since the beginning of this pot, since I started with everything, and I realized how good God is, and how much He's blessed me, and how He's given me the strength to go on. And so, like I said, if I didn't realize had that struggle and that pain, I wouldn't have realized, hey, He's sitting here with me every single day. And honestly, if it weren't for Him, then I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you and really give anything better than just nonsense, honestly. So the last thing that I chose to speak about that came out of what happened was, and honestly, this is not by any means one of those, last but not least things, is I became closer with my friends and my family that before I did not value as much as I should. Well, as I mentioned, going through my struggles, I've realized that those people are the best people, and I'm so thankful for it. And like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that I haven't loved the people that were my friends or that are my family. I'm not ever going to say that. But I will sit here and say that I didn't value them as much as I should have. And I just took for granted that they are going to be there all the time and that life's going to always be good. And that was as simple as that. But again, through the struggle, I realized, hey, this is not the truth whatsoever. But again, through it, I've realized how much these people mean to me and how much I want to show them that they mean to me. So I want to point out that I've been having these issues for a couple of years now, and even to this day, I'm still in the midst of it. Again, without going into too much detail, things are still shaky with a lot of things. But again, I've been able to go through it, and with my continuation of trying to become 1% better every day, I've been able to get through it all and try to help the people around me. So I tell you this story not because I want you to feel bad for me and not because I want you to gloat what I've done and anything like that. But I do tell you this story to help show that I do understand and that I personally myself have struggled in life and that the progress that came from it has been tremendous. And had none of that happen, I may not be sitting here talking to you. I may not have been baptized. I may not have been able to realize how important the relationships to me are and how that being happy with yourself can cause so much happiness for so many other people. And honestly, it sucks and it hurts a lot to be able to have went through what I've went through, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I take it for something that was good and that was a teaching lesson instead of something that's just miserable and harping on it the rest of my life. So, with all that being said, I present this week's challenge. So, I challenge you to try to look at where you are now that the struggle has passed, or if you're still going on, think about where you could be if you keep working to get out of the struggle. And when you figure out, where you've progressed or where you could progress, I want you to sit there and write it down and be proud of yourself. Sit there and, yes, it's nice to have someone praise you and say they're proud of you, but it's way more important to sit there and say, hey, I'm proud of myself. I think by writing it down and realizing exactly what's happened, you can realize, hey, I'm proud of myself. I've done a lot. So, as always, let me know how this goes. And if it helps you, make you feel better, please let me know. So, this concludes this week's podcast. So, thank you for listening. I hope you have a terrific week. I look forward to speaking to you next week.